What's up, crypto junkies? Welcome to another crypto news segment. Today we got a lot of juicy stuff going on. We got the G20 that just occurred, which some interesting things came out of that. We've got new moves by the SEC and a little bit on Bitmain, and then Satoshi possibly resurfacing after 4 years. Let's take a look. All right, let's get started here. First and foremost, the SEC Twitter account has now essentially said loud and clear that they are taking aim with social media influencers that are paid to promote and not disclose ICOs, which most ICOs they claim are securities. Here's the thing that is still getting me about this whole thing. The only reason why they gave Bitcoin a pass is because they had to. They had no choice. ETH is a security. Ripple is a security. Yet, where's the clear answer on this? I don't understand. This to me is like almost a joke, because couldn't there be some sort of loophole in litigation that because there's been this apparent special treatment of ETH and Ripple, couldn't that be used on the defendant's side on a situation like this? And I'll tell you what, who's gonna try something like this will be John McAfee, which we'll talk about more in just a couple of minutes. But anyway, that's just my opinion on this. So here is what they say. We don't believe Bitcoin is a security. Many of the ICOs that you see and talk about, they are securities. And if you're going to offer or sell securities, you have to do so in compliance with our laws. We've been clear about that. The recent actions further emphasize that our securities laws to apply to the ICO space. And if people are going to raise money using initial coin offerings, they either have to do so in private placement or register with the SEC. So, fun fact, that's us. That's me. That is crypto junkies. We, I guess, to some degree, face the potential litigation on promoting securities. Even though I said on everything that was a promoted video or an ICO review, I clearly stated that this was a paid ICO review. That doesn't excuse me from any sort of recourse down the road. So what it actually just means is that I told you up front that I was being paid for it. So the fact that I was paid by an unlicensed security is what they could then come after me for. I don't know how this will shake out. We're definitely going to be allocating money for some potential thing to shake out of this in 2019. We'll just take it from there, just like anything else. You just take life step by step, and if something like this happens, then obviously get legal representation and see. I will echo this statement that they said as well. Investors should be skeptical of investment advice posted to social media platforms and should not make decisions based on celebrity endorsements. Social media influencers are often paid promoters, not investment professionals, and the securities they're touting, regardless of whether they are issued using traditional certificates or on the blockchain, could be frauds. I think that's important to note. What is very interesting to me is that, am I the only one seeing this? But they're saying don't make a decision based off of a celebrity endorsement. But aren't people driven and invited to make decisions about how they live life every single day by celebrities? How are we drawing that line, and where are we drawing that line? I don't know. That's an interesting one to me. I'd love to debate this, honestly, at a really high level, because I think that it's just essentially hypocrisy, but on a different scale. Celebrities can tell us how to look, tell us how to dress, tell us what's fit, tell us what's skinny, tell us what's fat, all day long through their actions, through their presuppositions, through their social media, but they can't tell us where to put our money, right? So that's where the line is then, I guess, is what they're trying to say. Maybe, possibly, sorta, kinda. Then it's like, okay, so then celebrity endorsements and then social media influencers, there's a difference between those, I guess, slightly, in terms of the overall reach, sometimes not so much, but I guess then where do you draw the line with, social media influencer and celebrity and what they can get away with telling us and what they can't get away with telling us? I don't know. To me, that's confusing. And I don't think that they're clear at all, actually. And I think they're doing that on purpose so that they can milk as much money out of this as possible. But that's just me. All right, moving on to Jake Cervinsky. He's weighed in on this. I don't think the SEC has the resources or desire to go after YouTube and Twitter influencers who shield ICOs to their subscribers and followers. I absolutely do think plaintiffs who bought into ICOs based on these influencers' secret paid promotions will name them in litigation. I think that there are a few ones in particular that will get named in litigation, and I think that's specifically Ian Bellina, and I think that will be Superman, because they're a couple of the biggest, and I know a lot of people don't like them, and I think that's it. Like, maybe if they were more likable, then they wouldn't have any problems. I don't know. Maybe not. But people will always try and point the finger when they make a mistake and it goes south, and they can point a finger and blame it on somebody else and remove responsibility from themselves. They will. That's just human nature. Okay, John McAfee weighing in on this just 30 minutes ago. Me? Question mark. Worried about the SEC? Question mark. I have openly, publicly, and in media ridiculed that corrupt. We're going to just skip through that. The fabric of America. Come for me, SEC. I will, in every media outlet in this country, rip you a new one worthy of parking a tractor trailer in. I think they're going to go after McAfee. That's just my personal opinion. I think that they will. And it's because he did so many in such a short amount of time. I haven't counted or gone back and cared to count, but I remember it being like over a half dozen, probably less than a dozen ICO projects that he specifically tweeted about. He's a high profile guy. He's got a larger follower base. He's already in kind of the spotlight. So I think they will go after somebody like John McAfee, actually. I don't know how, or like what the charge will be, but I think they'll go after him. Okay, next, we got some interesting stuff going on here with this acquisition of Square Mining Ltd. from N-Chain Global. N-Chain has gone with Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, or BSV. In short, this is a long thread, okay? Really long thread. I don't think I want to get into the details of it, actually, but you can, and I might do a dedicated dedicated video of this, sorry. But the short version of it is that Square Mining is a paper stand-up being overhyped for fundraising, meaning that it just looks good on paper and there's no real substance to it. And this is done a lot, good or bad, whatever you feel about it. It's done very, very often. I think it's interesting that this is coming along right now to help prop up Satoshi Vision, which is essentially kind of lost. It's, Bitmain was backing essentially Bitcoin Cash, and now Jihan and Raj are together with Bitcoin ABC. So speaking of which, Bitmain has launched a crypto index for investors. I haven't looked at this yet, but just a better way for them to be able to track the performance of top coins. So yeah, going back to this, I'll have the thread underneath the video. You can check it out if you want to. That's all there is to it. The index is developed to provide institutional and retail investors with transparent, timely, methodology-based, and investable benchmark of the most active cryptocurrencies traded globally. That's why they did it. Moving on, Satoshi Nakamoto comes alive with first post in 4 years. Big news coming? Question mark. The P2P Foundation account of Satoshi Nakamoto is active again after lying dormant for 4 years, and there's a random Brazilian-Japanese connection in it as well, which I didn't see. I think it's just the language used. I don't know where they got that from. We don't know if this is actually controlled by Satoshi Nakamoto, the real, genuine person, just yet, but first post and then befriending a Brazilian of Japanese descent. This guy, why? Crypto sleuths who have followed the twists and turns of the modern day folklore that surrounds the true identity of Nakamoto have gone into overdrive. There you go. I'm sure that people are going nuts about it. It's really hard to tell if this will be the genuine version Satoshi Nakamoto, because there have been some interesting accounts pop up on social media, especially Twitter, that apparently Craig Wright owns, which is probably why they're bringing him up in this. Yeah, because he supposedly runs the Satoshi Nakamoto Twitter account, because they've tracked the linguistics on usage of words, and so it's not a legitimate account. So who knows what's going on? Who knows what? If Craig Wright's willing to do that, then who knows what he's been willing to do, and accounts bought, hacked, stolen, created, whatever, all along. You can't, I guess, put anything past the guy. Next up, and probably by far the most interesting story that I'm covering today, is the G20 in Argentina was recently done. And so what came out of that was obviously the pause on taxation, further tariff taxation between China and the United States, which is good. Everything should have pumped, right? Well, funny enough, S&P pumped, but gold and silver did not, further proving the point of manipulation, and cryptocurrency did not pump either. But what they talked about is to build a global taxation system for cryptocurrencies, digital currencies. And Japan, I think, is really front running this whole idea and concept, which I like. I've always liked that. I think that there should be a global way of doing things. Like, I helped working on a crypto startup for like 4 or 5 months. And I'll tell you what, the most exhausting thing was the legal cross-border bullshit that you had to put up with. All of it almost right now is just a big question mark. And you think that you're okay, and then it turns out that you're not, and it leads to this, which leads to that. It's a money pit and a time and emotion pit that a lot of crypto projects are dealing with right now. And I don't think a lot of the public and retail money realizes that. But anyways, normalization at the G20 level. So the G20 is like all the big countries, the big countries that have the big federal level banks and big central banks, even at just that level, like normalizing a taxation or like a process at that level would be a huge thing, right? That'd be a huge thing to have a public debate about cryptocurrencies at this weekend's summit. I have to dig more into this to see if there actually was specific debate. I'm still chunking down the actual G20 and what's public to us on video and things like that. But as I get more, I will update you guys. But that's it for the news. So some really interesting stuff going on. Let's see if I've got any headlines here to grab. Yeah, let's hit a couple. Bitcoin sees worst November since 2011. Tron reportedly takes over Ethereum as the most popular DApp or DApp platform. We got some just repeat of Ohio taking Bitcoin for taxes. Talked about that many times now. We've got some more prediction stuff. That's it. Okay. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Click the like button, comment below if you want to interact. What's your thoughts on what I just covered on these stories? And then if this is your first time to the channel, please take a second, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Be on the lookout because we'll be shooting and uploading more videos very soon, my friends. Okay, bye.